Welcome to the Kdrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive. And we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the Kdrama Show with Ashley and Kim. Water's overrated.
No, it's most of your body composition.
Yeah, but I just get that through coffee and soda.
False.
It's not like it's full of diuretics that are actively dehydrating me. It's totally fine.
No.
I've survived this long.
Okay.
It's probably why I don't sleep at night, too.
That could be.
Fix my problems, Ashley.
Drink water, come see me for massage, and we need to go shopping for...
I really do need to come see you again.
We're back.
We're back. Had some Sour Patch. Sat and scrolled on Instagram mindlessly for like 10 minutes.
I had sent Kim this video, I don't know, whatever, on Instagram, and she hadn't looked at it yet, but I had to have her listen to it because it was so good. And it was the Ajushis and the Ajummas that were singing This Is Me from The Greatest Showman.
It was beautiful.
Korean. And it's so... I'm like, I love that musical, so I... Hey, I already know the song. Great. And now I just need to learn it in Korean.
Yes. Yes, we'll be dropping that single
years from now.
Once we learn Korean and how to sing. Just kidding. Okay. So, KCulture Tidbit.
KCulture Tidbit. Okay, so yesterday.
Yes.
On Weverse, the page, or like the people that run BTS, like their artist
management,
whatever, sent out a notice, and so it was from Big Hit Music, that they were talking about how their company regularly is keeping track of people who post malicious things, who spread defamation, personal attacks, and they were saying that this past quarter they had filed multiple criminal complaints based on evidence relating to acts infringing on the rights of the artists, including defamation submitted by fans, and they also are monitoring this stuff. And they have somebody who's been arrested, and they're just waiting for an indictment.
Oh, it's crazy.
For somebody who previously impersonated a BTS member and leaked unreleased music, and then there was more about malicious rumors that were being spread. There was just a lot going on.
What would go through your mind that you think this is a good idea?
I have no idea.
And that you won't get caught.
Yeah, especially by one of the most technologically advanced countries.
And also with the most dox-happy cultures in fandom history.
Well, and I mean, like, this is one of the biggest names in the music industry, not just K-pop.
Globally.
Globally, one of the biggest names. You really think that they're not going to know that you're releasing their songs?
Not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, and so, but they said, they regularly collect information on malicious postings regarding BTS and reports them to the authorities, and they take legal actions, and they're going to continue to do so even while all members are fulfilling their military service. And it was a little bit bizarre. And, like, there's been more people who have, like, shown up at their residences, and it's been, so, like, I was reading this whole thing, and I was like, oh, I have to.
Well,
let's be respectful, people. Respect people's privacy, and also, you didn't put in the work.
Yeah.
So you don't get to take that from somebody who has worked very hard. And not just somebody, like, this is a whole company of insanely hard workers.
And
creative people, and
it's crazy.
It was just very... bizarre. So that was my KCulture tidbit, is that
slightly infuriating culture tidbit.
it was very infuriating. I read it and then I put my phone down and then I read it again and was like, I don't know how to process this. That's so much. But BTS, Jimin had a song that released, was it last week that I showed it to you?
Yes, I believe so.
Was it Closer Than This?
Uh-huh.
And it is a precious song, so everybody should listen to that.
Go stream it.
It is very much like in Jimin's powerhouse of his talent. Of like, it just
speaks to his strengths a little bit.
Yes, it's a very, very cute song as well.
It was good. I liked it. So
anyway,
do you want to catch us up from episode 12?
All right, episode 12. We had MiSo stay at YeongJoon's house.
Yes.
Slept like a baby that wasn't sick. YeongJoon did not sleep because he was scared he was going to disturb her.
Yes.
They both had some naughty thoughts because he told her, he's like, I can't make any promises for tonight. Slow down, sir.
Take a cold shower.
Yeah, something like that. They both have their jinx happen to them. YeongJoon is a chipped cup, and MiSo's is a scuffed heel. And so they're really concerned that something's going to happen. Instead, I guess the people who really have the jinxes are Yushik, who has his ex-wife call him, and as he's trying to agree to go on a date, screws up the words that he's trying to say, and just gets ghosted, basically, because it was a little bit painful. But then JiAh also gets a little bit of the jinx because she accidentally shreds the wrong documents.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess on the plus side,
there was a silver lining.
There was a silver lining of GwiNam helped her. And she's like, you're so sweet. We had Secretary Yang ask Sarah out after she gave some not so subtle hints that she wanted to be asked out.
She just wants to be loved.
We had YeongJoon's parents come to the office and finally have a conversation about everything that happened with his childhood and him saying that he forgot everything when he never did. We get some resolution between the brothers if they both actually apologize to one another, and we see a little bit of growth there. And we ended with MiSo at YeongJoon's house, and they're talking about honesty and how it's the best, and YeongJoon asks if he can be honest with her, and then
they do the horizontal cha-cha.
Basically, on the couch.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet, yeah. But this is an intentional laying on the couch make-out session, so here we go.
Naughty, naughty. So episode 13, he says, I don't want tonight to just pass by. Gets a little bit spicier, people. Hide your children's eyes if they're, not an appropriate age. Then a phone call from Yushik interrupts.
But not one.
Twice.
So yeah, there's two.
And he says if it's not something urgent, he'll lose his job tomorrow. So YeongJoon actually does have to go back to work to resolve an issue with the French brand that is in talks with their companies. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, MiSo's sipping wine on the couch.
She's not just sipping wine, she's chugging wine.
She is chugging wine on the couch, covering up some embarrassment.
Well, because she
earlier.
it's to the point where she's like, do I button up my shirt again? Do I leave it? Like, what do I do here? And then, yeah, we're just chugging wine. That is not the correct response, in case you're wondering.
It is not.
But YeongJoon and Yushik figure out that they're going to have to go to France. And it's going to take about a week. And so because YeongJoon isn't going to be able to see MiSo for a week, he's like, all right, I'm not going to let the night pass by. Mm-hmm. And gets back to the living room and is like, she should be in such a romantic mood, but she instead got drunk and has passed out on my couch.
So he kind of tries to subtly and also not so subtly wake her up.
Doesn't work.
Ends up just carrying her to bed. And the next morning, YeongJoon informs MiSo that he is leaving for France. Mm-hmm. And she helps him get ready. And then take commemorative photos of one another
so they can look at each other when they miss.
So they won't miss each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then he's cute because he tells her, you know, you have to stay in touch often or I'm going to scold you. And she's like, okay, but how? And then he just kisses her and he's like, just like that. And she goes, okay. We're getting more romance
early
now.
Couple stages for sure. So they're at work, or MiSo's at work. YeongJoon is heading toward the airport, and he sends MiSo some hearts while she's sitting at her desk. And YeongJoon is talking about their conversation and says to himself, how cute. And Secretary Young, who's driving the car, says, thank you, sir. Though I have a larger build, I am often being called cute. And he just says, congratulations.
Honestly, how else are you supposed to respond to that?
He's so funny. Such an earnest person.
He is. That night they are video chatting, and YeongJoon says that he's jealous, and she's like, what? And he goes, hardworking cow is in my spot, which is next to you. And she just takes poor hardworking cow and just chucks him on the floor. She's like, look, here's a space now.
So funny. The cheesiness from both of them is killer.
It's pretty great. But he's getting ready for his meeting, and he has like this zip up folder that has all of his information and papers in there. And inside sees that there's like a little handkerchief and
some caramels.
It's just like things that MiSo always has on hand. And there's a little note that was like, this is to, to make you feel like I'm here with you.
That was really cute.
It was very sweet.
It's like a care package / secretary package. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
So back to the office again, and Mr. Go GwiNam has been transferred from the planning committee office over to the secretary's office, much to the women's excitement and much to the men's chagrin.
Yes, they are less than pleased.
Yeah, he makes this big speech about wanting to be like salt to this holentang soup. Though it doesn't stand out, it is a presence quietly doing its job. And they're all just like, wow, that's amazing. So deep.
And he has the
little
like the thumbs up, but he's holding with his other hand of like.
Yep, offering the thumbs up. So the team starts talking about how relieved that YeongJoon is going to be gone for 2 days, wishing his plane would be delayed since it's less stressful without him there. And MiSo just like thunderclaps over in the corner.
She's like, absolutely not.
She mom claps. That was intense.
It was, and then she's like, okay, we should get to work now.
Yeah, she tries to cover it up, but she's like not really that successful.
But then she like rubs her hand. She's like, ow, that hurt. Well, yeah, girl, you
just broke your own hand there, lady. You broke the sound barrier.
Honestly.
So the trip happens.
YeongJoon gets to the airport. Yushik is following, and he's complaining.
With an amazing neck pillow, let me just say.
I have that written down, too.
The shrimp is so funny. I love it. It is. I know what you're getting for your birthday. Just saying. I gotta get it in time for your trip.
Oh my gosh, yes, please. Oh, it's so good. But YeongJoon is on a mission to get back to MiSo. And Yushik makes he kind of complained. He's like, yeah, because I just wanted to be with you. And he's being snarky. And YeongJoon just like, what?
Excuse you?
And he's like, no, I love spending time with you.
Sir.
You're my favorite person. You worked like a maniac because you wanted to go see MiSo. And he goes like, no, it's because I wanted to part ways with you as soon as possible.
Ouch.
Yushik makes a comment about how much MiSo must miss YeongJoon.
Yeah.
And then is like, well, why isn't she here? And he goes, oh, that's because I didn't tell her that I was coming home early.
He wants to surprise her and be romantic about it.
Yeah, he's being sweet.
Well, I think he's still kind of thinking with little YeongJoon more than he is big YeongJoon.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So MiSo, back at the office, is complimenting GwiNam, heartthrob GwiNam, for just his good work and getting something done.
Well, he's very efficient.
He is. He's very efficient.
There's a reason that he is he is promoted.
Right. He is obnoxious, but he's good at what he does, as we've kind of seen a couple of times. But YeongJoon only remembers this guy as being the guy from the athletic competition that had his arm around his girl.
Yes.
And he's like, he sees him talking to her, and MiSo's smiling at him, and he
and GwiNam's just
looks ready to commit murder.
Well, GwiNam's just like, this was no big deal. All my hobbies are and interests are work related anyway. And then just goes, oh, it's cold. Do we have air
Pans
conditioning
over to
on?
YeongJoon, just ice daggers.
And yeah, he of course, makes the whole speech again about wanting to
Being
be
a
salt.
tryhard.
And YeongJoon goes, well, since there's only 2 main ingredients in that soup, don't you think you're dreaming kind of big? Oh.
But then he kind of covers up his disdain by being like, I look forward to your big
What you can contribute.
contributions.
Yeah.
So they are now in YeongJoon's office, and the door's shut. And
She's thrilled to see him.
Oh yeah, she's super excited because she was not expecting it. It was a great gesture, but YeongJoon is very caught up on this whole men stopping by her desk while he was away, and
Right.
she's just smiling at him because she's thinks he's amazing and he's here now.
And she's like, I would have waited for you if I had known.
Right, yeah.
Like,
she's still reveling in the romance of it, and he goes, "Don't smile. That pretty smile. Don't show it to other guys other than me. I wanted to see you as soon as possible, so I worked and I didn't eat and even flew 12 hours. I was thinking you'd smile so brightly seeing me come back earlier, but you were already smiling to that salty Solangtang assistant manager and that newborn-like intern." The newborn-like intern killed me for some reason.
Good. But I love that she just keeps staring at him and has this big smile, and finally he's just like, whack. I have to kiss you now.
Yeah.
Like, he can't be mad at
They
her.
were smitten.
And he's like,
Let's play hooky.
let's go. And they go out for like coffee or a little date.
Dessert or something. They're talking.
And they're very cute. And, she's like, hey, we actually had a lot of things pile up. Like, we really do need to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And he just goes, I've never skipped class in my life. Like, I've always been hardworking. I always show up. He's like, today I'm going to, because in Paris I had to see all of these couples, and the only thing I could think of was getting back so I could go on a date with my MiSo.
And then gives her a kiss on the hand.
So sweet.
Very sweet.
And she just is like, okay, today's a fine then.
I accept.
I won't tell you no.
So back to SeongYeon. He is still kind of recollecting things from his childhood, piecing together all of these memories still that are coming back intermittently. And he remembers feeling inferior to YeongJoon as a child. But he realizes as time has gone on that he never truly disliked his brother. It was more that he was frustrated at himself for being lacking or not as capable.
Right.
And his parents actually ask for forgiveness for putting him in the position to feel that way, for having compared the two of them.
Right. It was never an intentional... Right. I feel like that's most parents. That's never a goal that they try to pit a child against another.
Well, you get excited about one kid being successful in one vein of something, not thinking about maybe the other kid would also like to be successful there, but they're just not, they don't come by it as naturally.
Right.
So it's an insecurity kind of thing. But hello, younger sibling over here. So I just think it's interesting that there's not really a villain in this show.
Yeah.
Everyone is kind of a victim of the circumstance, and even that woman, while she did not handle things correctly, was still a victim when it came down to it.
Yes, she would probably fit the quote-unquote villain role the most.
She just had a mental breakdown.
Well, yeah.
Well, not just. I mean, she had a mental breakdown. It was very bad.
Right.
She
and
hurt
it
people.
was a victim of her choices as well.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just a very...
It was...
Yeah,
everything was sad. There was no person to be angry with, I think.
Right. There was no one coming after another one.
Yeah. Because even she kind of turned it around at the last minute and was like, I'm not going to take these kids with me. Everything was kind of born out of a place of hurt. Hurt people.
So yes, we're getting some reconciliation with the whole family now.
Yes.
And they agree to start a new path together. So YeongJoon and MiSo get back to the office, and JiAh is so excited. She is like about to bubble over because MiSo sits down and she's, I'm paraphrasing here, girl, I got some tea. There is.
You mean she didn't say that?
What? I don't think that was a phrase when this show had come out. Something big has gone down. It's huge news. I have proof. The vice chairman has a girlfriend. And MiSo just shrinks and she's like, oh, I'm going to die of embarrassment or fear.
There's no way she knows, though.
No.
What is this proof? There's no proof.
Right. But there's a picture
of
YeongJoon holding a woman's hand.
And kissing it.
Yeah. And so that's how they know he now has a girlfriend.
So mid-conversation, though, MiSo actually gets a text from the vice chairman, and JiAh sees that there's a message coming from him, hands her phone to her, and then she's like, why are there hearts on it?
Right, isn't that the vice chairman?
Puts 2 and 2 together and says, are you the girlfriend? And MiSo is very quick thinking, covers it up saying it's like a church pastor, and he always sends messages
is overflowing
like
with
that.
love.
Yeah.
And always sends heart emojis.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen. And at first, JiAh believes her until
but she's no dummy.
Well, no, she realizes that the bracelet from the photo is the same bracelet sitting on MiSo's arm.
And oh yeah, she's a little shook. Because she's like,
she is jung shook.
She is jung shook. Yeah, she is freaking out now, and she's like, oh crap.
Every bad thing I've ever said about the vice chairman in front of her is now flooding back to my memory in this moment.
What's even more funny about this scene is MiSo's lie is bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's a horrible lie. It's not even like passable.
No.
Because she goes into like the little break room and she gets a bottle of water and she's like, okay, that came out naturally.
Trying to convince herself.
Yeah. And JiAh comes up to her and just is like, I'm so sorry for any unkind thing that I ever said about the vice chairman because no one likes to hear criticisms about their boyfriend. And she's like, no, we're not, no, he's not my boyfriend. She's like, see, this is when I hate that I'm really quick.
What a weird way to...
It is. And she shows her the picture and she's like, you're wearing the same bracelet as the woman's hand. And she's like, oh, this is a popular bracelet. Like, this is no big deal.
Even Sarah has it, too.
And she's like...
Yeah, your face is literally in the picture.
I'm quick. And when she looks at the picture again, you see the reflection of MiSo's face in the napkin dispenser. And she's just like...
I hate my life.
I want to die.
I need to wear a mask.
Now. She's like, okay, yes, but can you please keep this a secret?
Yeah.
And JiAh is just like...
She's so sweet.
I'm not only quick, but I'm also loyal. Like, your secret is safe with me. But then, of course, she's... Congratulations. But she's so... Like, of course you're curious. Like, your friend is dating somebody or your coworker is dating somebody. When did you start dating? How long have you been dating? Like, she wants to know.
Yeah, they're work besties.
Oh, absolutely.
They spend all day sitting right next to each other.
Who else are they supposed to talk to?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she starts to ask a lot of questions, though, and kind of tease MiSo, which I thought was really cute. Because that's what you do. You know?
Absolutely.
It comes from a place of love. It's not vindictive.
Then YeongJoon presses the call button so that...
The sound of love.
JiAh's like, it's so romantic now that I know you're dating. And she's like, no, this is the sound of work. Poor MiSo was freaking out.
So MiSo heads on in, and she's kind of starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of the relationship and just this dynamic, how it's going to play out with her work and her reputation and how it's going to affect her. And YeongJoon is kind of not really understanding maybe the position that it would place her in if this were to go public. And he feels that going public would protect the relationship because it would, keep the men away from her and allow them to be able to,
well, they could be out in the open.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have to be like, oh, we have to sneak around.
Right. He sees it as exclusively a good thing, but she's also, people don't fabricate their opinions to fit her, her thinking because she's not the vice chairman.
Right.
And so if there's any flack to be given, it will land squarely on her.
Right. Well, and she even tells him, like, I'm not trying to hide you. I'm letting you be hidden because I know how far-reaching and how powerful you are. Right. And I have to be careful because of that. Right. But I love that there's finally some healthy communication between the two. Like, we went from... let's be really awkward and never say what we mean and then get all upset with the other person to, hey, yeah, no, this is why I'm where I'm at right now. And okay, I don't love it, but I can handle that because this is where you're at.
I can respect you and respect that wish.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have like, yay, healthy communication.
What?
So
How often will we write that in our K-drama notes? Maybe in the last 3 episodes.
Maybe.
So Sarah sneaks around the corner, is asking about the vice chairman's schedule since, you know, he's going to have to work so hard. And JiAh says, well, if you're talking about the vice chairman, I think that you're going to, like, be disappointed.
Like, you're going to get hurt if you fall for him.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Secretary Young. Because he's going to have to drive him everywhere.
Well, she was just looking at Secretary Young the whole time. She wasn't even saying that. She was just longingly looking at her love.
Secretary Jung offers to take GwiNam for drinks as a welcome, but he declines. And keeps trying to get everybody else to go along with it again. And they're just like, sorry.
It's so funny because throughout basically this whole show, other than the work retreat, every time he asks, nope.
Yeah, too
busy.
busy.
I have to go look for this now.
I gotta go pluck my nose hairs.
Literally anything.
Anything to keep him away. I don't know. It makes you wonder what happened so long ago that no one will drink with the poor guy anytime he asks them to go out.
And we know that he is the office gossip.
Yes.
So that's probably a good.
True. So if you're gonna get drunk around him and spill all your secrets, he's probably not the one you want to do it around. Heading home, MiSo says that she doesn't need to sleep at YeongJoon's house anymore because she's no longer having nightmares. But he is very worried about their, quote, unfinished business.
Oh.
And MiSo is slightly horrified at the implication. And he says, well, I can come up with sexier words, but the sexiest of all is, I love you.
And then he takes her hand and looks her in the eyes and says it again.
Yeah.
I love this one because
Just
there's so much more romance.
Pitter-patter.
Well, then we cut to JiAh. She's coming out of her apartment building and she's like, well, I'm out of ramen and I really don't want to go eat out alone. And looks up and GwiNam is coming home. And she's like, aren't you supposed to be working overtime? And he's like, yeah, I just didn't want to go to the welcoming party because I don't want to pay for everything. Like, I'm afraid that they're going to make me pay for everything. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to waste my money. And so she's like, okay, well, do you want to have a welcoming party with me? That way I can thank you for your help and, as my neighbor. And he's just like, no, because I don't want to have to deal with the vicious cycle of having to pay for you next time. He doesn't want to
reciprocate. Just like, oh, what a...
And I love this because JiAh is just like, that's it. Because he starts to walk in, she grabs his backpack and she's like,
you're coming with me.
Let's go. And he's like, what? And she's like, you talk too much. You're coming with me. I just want to welcome you.
Feel the love.
I'm just trying to buy you a meal. Just let me do it.
I know. It's so funny because she sees right through the act at this point.
Yes.
And so she's like, no, I know better. We're going.
Just deal with it, bro.
Too bad. You're taking my friendship and you're going to like it. So MiSo gets a call from her father, allegedly, probably. But he's ended up in the hospital somewhere. Yes. And we find out that he is a rocker.
Well, we
rocker and a roller.
But he is still performing.
I mean, that man has a mullet going on.
It's
and
there.
His audience, we see him up on stage. He is feeling it.
He's explaining how he got hurt.
Yeah. His audience is just a bunch of middle-aged women at the club. It was... They're like, Omo.
So good.
It's going to be Ashley in like 10 years.
I'll do it now.
I know, it is you already.
Well, because he decides he wanted to body surf. And he goes, I forgot that most of the people that are in our audience are like 50s.
In their 50s.
And he landed on the ground.
Oh, he didn't even bother getting up. He just slides his glasses down his face like, I'm going to lay here for a few minutes until someone finds me and calls 911.
Right.
Or 119, I guess, in Korea. So MiSo decides that she's going to stay with him at the hospital and sends YeongJoon home for the night. And he is very busy trying to keep his thoughts holy and pure while home alone.
It's a struggle.
His little lustful devil shows up again. It's girl.
It's
by
a girl.
The way.
Yeah, it is.
He was very disturbed by that fact.
All right, so we're back with JiAh and GwiNam, and they're having.
I love this interaction.
I do too. I think this is my favorite GwiNam and JiAh interaction, especially that we've seen so far. Especially, they're at a Chinese restaurant, and GwiNam is hitting the bottle a little heavy.
A little heavy.
Well, because she grabs it from him. She's like, "You need to slow down, or you're actually gonna get drunk." And he goes, "But it's so good."
Because he never drinks. He never
doesn't.
Indulges.
No, and he's
in
like,
any way.
He asks about what the dish is because it's so good. I forgot to write it down. Kolboro, yes. Anyway, he is like, "This is so good. I'm going to have this for my birthday. It's next May." And JiAh's like, "Why do you have to wait so long to have this?" And he's like, JiAh tells him, "You work so hard. You get promoted the fastest. You get the most bonuses. Why are you saving so much?" And he's just
basically saying, I know what you're making. Why
Yeah.
are you being so frugal?
And he's just like, "It's a secret." And this is how you know this is the alcohol taking over.
It's a secret.
It's a secret. But then she brings up, you have one suit and you live on the rooftop. Like, it's not a big deal. Why must this be a secret? And he tells her that it can be a flaw. And he opens up about his childhood, about how his whole family lived in one small room. And he didn't think anything of it because he thought that's how everybody else.
Well, he was happy.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're a kid, why would you know any different?
Yeah, that's good upbringing if you don't.
Right. And he's like, "When I grew up, people made me feel ashamed." And he's like, "I wasn't just smart student, go GwiNam. I was poor but smart student, go GwiNam." And he's like, "And I got a job right out of university, and it was a good job. And when people heard about that, they're like, wow, instead of just congratulations, it was a good job in spite of your circumstances." And he's like, I hated hearing that. He's like, "So what I wanted to do is save as much as possible so I could buy a house and be able to provide for his future wife and kids in hopes that they would never have to hear those words." And he's like, "That's how I've saved $100,000
in 4 years."
In 4 years. And she's just like, "Wow, 대박."
Well, he says he only spends $100 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just waiting to experience the joy of spending with his future family. It's really sad.
It's so sad. And you're just
and
like...
she was sad for him. She's like, "You've completely isolated yourself for this future family you're never going to have if you don't open up to somebody."
Right, if you can't build some relationships with people, you're not going to even have friends to go out for a drink. Like, it's not like you have to do it super often, but you're not going to have anybody.
But it's just sad that he built this whole persona. It kind of similar to YeongJoon, just to protect himself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Feigning arrogance. So MiSo and her father are back at the hospital. They're getting ready for bed, and they kind of start to talk about her plans to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And he just says that he felt sorry that he couldn't have been a better provider and chased his own dreams of being a musician rather than supporting her. And MiSo says, "I was happy that you could chase your dreams and don't think anything of it." And I just think it's interesting, like, the way that MiSo and YeongJoon, I think we've talked about this before, both parented their parents.
Yes, we have, yeah.
And this just kind of gives a little more context to her situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that's why they both kind of need each other.
Right, because they've been in a similar position with their parents.
They've had to take care of themselves for so long. They just need someone who understood and could help take care of the other person.
Right.
But YeongJoon,
he can't sleep.
He can't sleep. He tries calling her. MiSo's already asleep. And so he waits till the morning, calls again, and MiSo lets him know that, or no, MiSo calls him.
Yeah.
And lets him know that she's actually going to have to take the morning off because plans had changed and people coming to stay with her dad had been rearranged. And so YeongJoon actually goes to the hospital to see her. They just miss each other. She was at her dad's house picking up some things. So he offers to go greet, his future father-in-law, and she's just like, "No."
He doesn't even know we're dating.
"Please don't.
Please stop."
If you want to live.
Well, also, like, you have work, you have meetings, you need to go to the office now.
Yeah, go do your job that's keeping people's livelihoods moving. Please.
Right now.
So he does. He goes to the office. JiAh informs him that Secretary Kim will be out for the day, but he was, already aware. She smiles after he's gone and says, of course you would know because it's your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks sad since she isn't here, and I wish someone would look at me the way that he looks at her. REAL Go GwiNam with a document in tow. So earlier at a meeting, she had been asked for a piece of a project that she didn't have time to get to because of everything she was doing for YeongJoon, yeah. And he had actually completed that part of the project for her that she needed to be done. So they have this little moment, and it's adorable.
It's so cute,
all caps adorable.
It is, because he just tells her, like, no, I just did this as a thank you. And
yeah, because she's like, it must have been difficult. And he says, JiAh, how do you feel when you take a stroll through the woods? And she says, I feel like relaxed and refreshed and healed. And he goes, work is like that for me, so don't feel burdened. So cute.
So cute, because then she hugs it and she goes, I feel refreshed.
I know.
You're like, ah.
So cute. I don't know.
We're all about the B plots in this episode.
Seriously.
It's great.
PilNam shows up at the hospital, asks to take MiSo to lunch so that they can talk, and she reveals she had gotten a new job and gives her severance pay to MiSo.
And it's a big moment here for the sisters.
It is, yeah.
Because MiSo's like...
She acknowledges a couple of things, because what were you going to say?
I would say, because MiSo's like, no, like, why are you doing this? Like, I did this because I wanted to. Right. Like, you don't need to give me anything. And she's like, no, I'm paying you back for everything. Like, you paid for our tuitions. You paid for this.
Tutors and...
Yeah, and she's like, also, you can't be dirt poor when you get married.
Yes.
So you need to have something. She's like, throw it. Do whatever you want with it. But, like, this is yours now.
Basically, kind of giving her blessing, for... As her mom, not mom. But I liked the way that she was like, keep it or throw it away. It doesn't matter. I gave it to you, so you do what you want with it. And I think that sometimes when you receive something big like that, it can feel like a burden or like you're being greedy.
Yeah.
And so I really thought it was kind of a sweet way of saying, like, you take it. That doesn't make you selfish.
Right.
Like, this is what you deserve and what I want to do for you.
Above and beyond.
Yeah. So this is very little in comparison to what you've done.
Right.
By sacrificing a decade of your life. But anyway. So YeongJoon was waiting for MiSo to eat until she had gotten back, cutesy couple kind of things. But MiSo was like off in La La Land. She'd already eaten.
PilNam took her shopping.
Took her shopping at a dress shop, which
look,
delayed
that'd be
it
so
even
cute.
more.
I'm going to get this for you. Just shut up and come with me.
Yeah. So she gets back. She has food in tow. She has her shopping bags. And he's like, are you ready to go eat? And she goes, I'm sorry, I've eaten. And he goes, and you felt so bad about it that you brought me a gift, right? And she's just like, no.
Those are my clothes.
I put another ick around this little tidbit. I don't know.
Yes, but also this is, we're seeing some of the old YeongJoon that still hasn't quite grown yet.
Yeah.
Because then he tells her, because she tells him, well, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, if you're sorry, let's go back to my place. And she's just
put another ick by that.
But I love, because he gets put in his place. Because she goes, there's a word that keeps coming to my mind ever since yesterday.
He goes, sexy, provocative, deadly.
Bulldozer. She's like, you keep coming at me without stopping. You're just like a bulldozer. And
takes the wind out of his sails,
frankly,
right there.
Good for you, MiSo.
Finally, she says something.
Well, and it's in a way that can be recognized of like what a bulldozer is. Mm-hmm. It's a huge piece of equipment. My father does dirt bricks, so I'm very familiar with these types of equipment.
I have a 3-year-old boy, so I'm very familiar.
Yes, I mean, it's true. But the whole point of a bulldozer is to knock everything down.
Yeah.
And so YeongJoon being told this is like, what? And he, of course, goes to
I mean, then
his boy.
Immediately the next scene is him with Yushik.
And because Yushik's like, she called you a what? And then I just love that Yushik just goes, what did you keep coming at her, my cute and sexy bulldozing owner?
Rawr.
Rawr.
And then thankfully he tells YeongJoon to chill the freak out because
Well, yeah, he's like,
he's going to scare her away.
I wrote down I didn't get all of it, but I just wrote down some paraphrasing of just what Yushik said, because I feel like, I mean, YeongJoon's response, you can just hear without me having to say it. But he goes, YeongJoon, you have to be aware that this is her first time dating. Yes, it's yours too, but that doesn't mean you get to act on your impulses. He's like, that doesn't mean that your relationship is going to get any deeper if you just are continually coming straight at her. Mm-hmm. He's like, you need to use moderation and be easygoing. And of course, YeongJoon's like, what? And he's like hitting his chest, and he's like, I feel so uncomfortable. He's like, I don't know what this means. And
you're getting the talk, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Yushik tells him, if you can't, she will get turned off. He's like, here, I'll give you an example. You know, if you're next to someone who's just started to crawl and you tell them to run like Usain Bolt, she'll try for a while, but then she'll get tired and just leave you be. Control your pace.
Cue Secretary Soul walking in with this little piece of cake, and you already know where it's going. And
oh, absolutely.
She trips and stumbles in the cheesiest way ever.
And smashes that cake.
Just all down Yushik's front. And he looks at YeongJoon, who's just in utter disbelief that the fact that this just happened.
Well, because he just goes over and pulls out a new...
Well, Yushik goes, it's okay, I'm not even bleeding or anything. Ha 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 ha, or whatever.
He handles it so well.
And it happens so often that he even keeps an entire closet in his office specifically for these occasions where she just ruins his outfit for the day.
Well, and he uses it as an example. He's like, you see, if you can't control your pace, this is what's going to happen.
Maybe that's why his ex-wife left him, is because he kept coming home in different clothing, and she's like, where have you been?
And really his secretary just is clumsy.
If you've been with your secretary, yes, but it's not what you think.
She drank my tea last time.
I had a laxative. Just kidding. Oh boy. Hope you brought a change of undies too. So MiSo is catching up with Sarah and sees how much time Sarah is just wanting to like be with her boyfriend. Her hero man.
Well, and Sarah just like goes on a list of like, we're going to do this, and we're going to go to a restaurant, we're going to go to a movie, and then we're going to go walk here.
And then do a little popo afterward, and just being excited, being in love, and wanting to spend quality time with this person that she really cares for. Right. And MiSo kind of takes pause and is like, reevaluate, the fact that I've kind of blown off my boyfriend for the last however many days, and he's probably feeling a little bit
neglected.
Well, and Sarah says, we just started dating, so the fires are burning hot. And MiSo just kind of feels guilty that she's dumping water on their fire.
Right. Well, because then she walks into his office, into YeongJoon's office, and he turns to her and he's just like, you know what? I'm really sorry that I couldn't control my pace.
Yeah. And he means it too.
And he does. And he's like, I've been thinking about it, and I have been rushing things. He's like, it was 9 years of repressed emotion all coming out at once. And he's like, but for you, I'll slow it down. I cherish you, basically. Like, I want you to be
It's not what I can get from you. It's that I just want to be closer to you.
Right.
So he leaves for a work meeting and then goes home directly after to try to give MiSo space. And then when he finally gets home after his day of work, she is waiting for him outside his door. Mm-hmm. Then she also apologizes for not considering his feelings and his side of things, and then asks if she can stay the night.
No, she doesn't ask. She just tells him, I'm not going home tonight.
Yeah, and then it gets a little spicy from there.
It gets a lot spicy.
I had to look away.
Well, because she told him, she's like, I'm staying with you all night. And he goes, well, if you come into my house, I'm not controlling my pace. And she looks at him, turns around, and just walks in his house. And you're like, well,
all right.
There we
gotta fast forward through the next however many minutes of that.
I just have our love scene begins, and then YeongJoon tells MiSo that he loves her.
Yeah.
And then she tells him that she loves him. And this is the first time I think that we see MiSo actually say that to YeongJoon. And so that's how you know her apologizing about not taking his feelings into consideration, like, is because she does love him. Yeah. But now we're actually hearing her say it, and I think that's the first time.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And we can just end the episode there because there's really not much.
Episode 13. We don't want to go into graphic detail.
No. Although he's so pretty.
Anyway. So, character of the hour.
I think it's GwiNam and JiAh together. One, JiAh just being like, no, you're going to be my friend now. Just deal with it.
It's like kindergarten. I pick you.
Like, you're my friend now. But GwiNam is real in this episode. The realest that we have ever seen him, because he's always just been kind of obnoxious.
Well, he's got a half of a wall up.
Right, and we see him considering somebody else. He helped her with the papers,
the documents,
last episode, but even doing the other project for her because she just didn't have time. He's growing as a person, and it was just very sweet, even though it was sad in some aspects of
he's multidimensional, and I think that's kind of what this episode.
We had a lot of fun B plots happen. Who's yours?
Really like the GwiNam JiAh arc.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I like it more than the main arc. Hot take, sorry, a bit controversial, but I am like a classic second male lead syndrome person, but
depends on who it is.
I like that there's no drama to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, she's just like, you're the nut I'm going to crack, and here we go. And
deal with it. Yeah,
and he's just kind of resistant to it at first, but they're obviously also my characters of the hour.
They're so sweet.
They're so sweet, and they have like this youthfulness to them, I think, that I also like, where going back to like Kim MiSo and YeongJoon, like, I know I get Sarah is what she's getting at, like, we just started dating, there's this fire that's burning underneath.
Right.
I feel like Kim MiSo and YeongJoon have skipped the first 5 steps because they know everything about one another. There is no getting to know you phase. There is just I have picked you and I want to spend my life with you at this point, because there's literally nothing new to learn other than, you know, the
quirks.
Trauma. But
right. Well, then, like, just
they're not
quirks of
starting
normal
from
stuff.
square one like those two are. So for the fire to not be like roaring, they've already got like the coals are hot and white and ready to slap the steak on the grill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely there. It's just not.
It's different. It's a different phase.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be roaring like theirs is. Is that episode 13?
That's episode 13. Woo!
Oh, we did it.
A lot more romance, and not just from our main characters. It's just a more romantic episode, and it's just
we're getting into the happy endingness of the show, I think.
Yes,
in some ways. All right, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. It's at the KDrama Show. We are available on
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
and YouTube.
All right, we'll see you next time. Like what you're hearing? Go ahead and hit that follow button so that you don't miss out on any new episodes. Thanks for listening to The KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim. We'll see you next time.